Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. I want to make sure I look good on all angles. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, those of you who are watching on Facebook, those of you who are watching on YouTube. All right. Welcome, welcome. I think this is the fourth episode of the Rich Roots series. Okay. And today we are going to be discussing money traumas. Okay. So the name of this live today is Let's Talk About Money Traumas. Now, why did I decide to do this live? It's funny because I was having a conversation with another financial professional, and I told them exactly what I do. Which is I help people with their money, right? And not just with managing your money or investing and all that jazz, but I also help people have a better relationship with money. All right, and I told her that a lot of times the client knows what to do, right? You give them a budget, you give them a strategy, and this is me as a financial professional speaking to another financial professional. Hi, Oshun Kemebi, all is one, all is one. Nice to have you, right? And so I'm speaking to another financial professional, and I told her, sometimes you give the client a strategy, you give the client a budget, but there's always this invisible force, this invisible block that's stopping the client from actually taking action, right? From actually implementing the knowledge. A lot of times we know what to do, but there's something stopping us from actually doing it. Type in a one if you're with me. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, I got a couple of people on Facebook, right? Type in a one if you're watching, if you're with me, right? Sometimes we know what to do, right? Actually, not just sometimes, a lot of times we know what to do, right? But somehow there's something stopping us from actually doing what we know we're supposed to do. What is it? What is that invisible block? What is that invisible energy that's stopping us from spending less, from investing, from savings, right? What is that invisible force that's causing that every single time I save money, right? Something happens. There's an emergency that wipes it all out, right? I had a client. Every time she gets to about $2,000 saved, there's a $2,000 emergency that happens. Right? Every single time she's about to save money, there's always something that stops it, or there's always a reason to spend, right? Or there's that, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to swipe anyway type thing. So what is it? All right. All is one, Olaia, all is one, Priestess Olaia. All right. I see some of you. All right. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the money traumas. All right. So as you all are trickling in, I see a few of you are trickling in on YouTube. A few of you are trickling in on Facebook. I'm not going to stay too long. So I'm just going to go ahead with the live. Usually I wait for a couple more people to get on, but I'm just going to continue. Okay. So who am I? My nome is Priestess Omisika Oladeinde. I am a certified money coach. I'm a behavioral money coach. I go deep into the subconscious mind to find the root of your spending habits, to find the root of your savings habit. Because here's the thing, right? Let's have a conversation real quick. Everybody knows that we're supposed to, not your, because I'm in this with you, right? We're supposed to spend less and save more. Type in a 7 in the chat if you know that, right? Everyone knows, right, that we're supposed to spend less and save more. Now, is that mind-blowing information? Is that groundbreaking information? Do you need to go and pay $100,000, $20,000, $5,000, whatever it is, for a program to teach you that? You don't need to go and watch 500 different courses. You don't need to go seven hours into the YouTube rabbit hole to know that, all right, we're supposed to spend less and save more. But why is it so hard to actually do it? Talk to me in the chat. Why is it so hard to actually spend less and save more? We already know we're supposed to do it. You don't need a money coach to tell you that. You don't need me to come on here and give you a whole budgeting workshop. You don't need any of that. You don't need another budgeting workshop. You don't need another savings workshop. You don't need another anything workshop because you already know what to do. You already know what you spend money on. Or maybe you don't. Actually, you know what? Maybe you don't. Maybe it's time to find out, right? We already, all is one, priestess, all is one, Iya, all is one. It's always an honor to have you on these lives. So we already know that we're supposed to spend less and save more. So what is the issue? What is stopping us from actually implementing this? Let's have some guesses, all right? Talk to me in the chat. Let's have some life in the chat here. When you guys, actually, you know what? That's a little tactic. Every time I get you guys to talk on the chat, it boosts the video in the algorithm so that more people can see this, right? We are here to impact the entire community. So share this, right? Tag your friends, tag your family, everyone who needs to hear this, even if they don't watch it right away. A lot of people don't watch the lives live, but they go back and they watch the replays, especially if they're super, super short. That's why I keep my lives about 20, 30 minutes, because I know I'm going to make it easy for you to watch it and digest this information. Why is it, right? Why is it, right? Priestess Oshun Funke, Iya says, root chakra. Oh, let me highlight this, okay? So we have root chakra, medication through consumerism. Absolutely, right? What else? What else? Yes, the root chakra, right? The root chakra is responsible for safety, right? It's responsible for your home, for being grounded. It's responsible for your finances, for your security, feeling safe in your finances. When was the last time you had peace around your finances? What did that feel like? Or maybe you never knew what that felt like, right? These are some of the questions you want to ask, all right? Anybody else? What are some other guesses, right? What is stopping us? Iya also talked about medication through consumerism. Yes, our culture, our society, right? We're taught you need to spend, you're not good enough, so you need to buy this thing. You're not good enough since birth. Right? Since birth, all those little kiddie commercials that you watch, even when you put your child in front of Blue's Clues. Well, I'm dating myself. I don't have any children, but I did raise my little brother. He used to watch Blue's Clues, Franklin. I know I'm dating myself. I don't know what's out there now. I don't know what the kids are watching these days, right? But when you put on Dora, you put all those things on, right? There's those commercials telling your child, you're not good enough, you need to get this thing. You're not good enough, you need to buy this thing. You're not good enough, you need to buy this thing. You're on Facebook, and it's not just your child. You're on Facebook, you're scrolling. You're not good enough, you need to buy this thing. You're not good enough, you need to buy this thing, right? You're constantly being told you're not good enough and you need to buy in order to be good enough. So yes, absolutely. Consumerism. Yes. Okay. People, Iya says, people don't feel like they are doing good unless they are able to buy things. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Priestess Ola Iya says, listen, I ask myself, what is my problem? Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. So that brings me to the topic of the day. I hope I didn't lose you here. 1 second, Facebook. I got to move some stuff. Make sure that I'm good here. Sorry, I had blocked the setup. Okay, bear with me. This is what happens when you're live. All right, you get to see all the bloopers and everything. Okay. All right, so I had some notes so I could keep myself organized, because last time I was like all over the place. I'm like, I need to be organized. Okay, so let's talk about money traumas, right? Why do money traumas matter? Well, let's have a conversation, right? First, before we even talk about why do money traumas matter, let's talk about what is a money trauma. Actually, let's have a guess. Let's see you guys guess in the chat. If you had to guess, what does it mean to have a money trauma? What is a money trauma? What is the definition of a money trauma? Okay. Sacred Feminine Alchemy says bad mindset and money or on money or credit. Absolutely. Those are some reasons why we stop ourselves from actually spending less and saving more, right? Absolutely. Okay. So what is a money trauma? What is money trauma? How do you define money trauma? Okay. I'm going to see, let's see some guesses. Anybody on Facebook? How are we doing Facebook over here? Let's give Facebook a little love. All right, so I just pressed something and I have no idea what I just pressed. I was trying to put a little comment on here. Hello, comment sections. Hello, Facebook. How we doing? If you're watching this live, please type in a live on Facebook. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and type in replay so that the algorithm can show it to more people. Okay. Sacred Feminine Alchemy says, following trends and fads, preventing savings and fundings on being responsible. Okay, beautiful. All right, so nobody guessed what is a money trauma. So let's just, oh, there we go. Okay, Oshun Kamebi says, inability to have a healthy relationship with money. Very, very good guess, Oshun Kamebi. Okay, so a money trauma, if you're going to write this in your notes, a money traumas are deeply rooted emotional experiences, okay? They are deeply rooted. They're deeply rooted inside of your subconscious mind, okay? They're emotional experiences. Let's pause for a second, okay? When we're talking about the brain, right, there are three main components of the brain, all right? You guys following me? There are three main components of the brain. There is the frontal lobe, which is where you have all of your logic, right? This is where your creativity is. This is where you connect to the ethers. That's why your third eye is right there, right? This is where you're able to expand your mind. This is where your imagination is. This is where you have a concept of time, concept of worthiness. Type in a 1 in the chat if you're with me, okay? So the frontal lobe, those of you just joining us, right? The frontal lobe is where we have all the logic, all the imagination, all the concept of time, a concept of self, because concept of self-worth, right? This is where the frontal lobe is, all right? Then we have the middle part of the brain, which is the emotional part of the brain, right? This is where we hold all the emotions, and all emotions go down to fear and greed, all right? Everything is rooted in fear. I'm sorry, not greed. Now I'm talking about the stock market, fear and love. Thinking about the stock market. My bad. The stock market is fear and greed. Okay. Look at that. Negative on top of negative. We see that? Freudian slip there. Okay. Fear and love. I'm so sorry. The duality of fear and love, right? So all emotions are tied to fear or love. Well, Kat, what about jealousy? Jealousy is tied to fear, right? The only reason why we're jealous of anything or anyone is because we fear that we're not enough. Right? What about anger? Anger is fear that we are not being heard, fear that we are not being understood, fear of something, right? What about happiness? Well, that's love, right? What about joy and excitement? That's love. So all emotions are rooted in fear or love. And then the third part of the brain, we call it the reptilian brain. Okay, the reptilian brain. This is the part of the brain that's responsible for your heart beating. Think about it. Do you have to think about your heart beating? Do you have to think about digesting your food? Do you have to think about blinking your eyes? Do you have to think about creating saliva to be able to eat and digest the food? You don't have to think about any of that, right? Thank God we don't have to think about all that, because that would be overwhelming. Imagine having all the thoughts inside of your mind, and you had to remember to breathe, and you had to remember to have your heartbeat. That is that's a lot of responsibility, right? And that's why your subconscious mind takes care of all of that. So think about all the things that are autopilot, right? All the things that are on autopilot are controlled by your subconscious mind. Type in a 7 if you're with me. Type in a 0 if I lost you. I took a minute to teach real quick. So I'm going to make sure everybody understood this, because it's very important for you to understand that concept in order to continue this conversation. So is this clear for everyone? Okay. So we have the frontal lobe, which is all. Hi, Jamia. Nice to see you, Queen. Hello, hello. Nice to see you on Facebook. All right. Right. So we have the frontal lobe, which is responsible for logic, imagination, your sense of self, your sense of worth. We have the emotions, which is tied to fear and love. And then we have the subconscious, which is all the things that you do on autopilot. Okay. Type in a 7 in the chat. If you're watching the replay, type in a 7 in the chat. If you're watching the live, type in a 7 in the chat. Okay. All right. So now let's go back to the definition of a money trauma. Okay. So a money trauma is a deeply rooted emotional experience, okay, related to financial situations that negatively impacted the way that you behave around money. I'm going to say that one more time. a money trauma is a deeply rooted emotional experience. Where is that in your brain? Talk to me in the chat. Remember, we just talked about this, right? We just talked about that. The frontal lobe, the middle, the emotional part of the brain, and then you have the subconscious mind, okay? Which part of your brain do you think that your money traumas are stored in? The frontal lobe, the middle, or the subconscious? Talk to me in the chat, okay? All right. So money traumas are deeply rooted emotional experiences related to financial situations that negatively impacted your money behaviors. Okay. So let's see the chat here. Let's take a break and let's go into the chat. All right. All right. It's the same chats. Okay. Nothing new. Okay. All right. I don't see sevens or nothing. I don't see no numbers. So hopefully you guys get this because I'm going to move on. Okay. Okay, and I know it's lunchtime, so I don't know if anybody's actually watching. Okay, all right, so impacting. So now let's talk about why do we care about money traumas? Why do I care about a money trauma? Why does that matter to me? Well, here's the thing. Remember what we talked about, right? Money traumas are deeply rooted emotional experiences that impact the way that you behave around money. And so why do I care about money traumas? I care about money traumas because they impact how I behave around money. They impact my money. They impact the reason why I'm not able, and I say I'm because I'm speaking about us as a unit, right? Because I am your reflection, you are my reflection. It's because okay, let me not just say I, right? Because we're all in this together. We have money traumas that are creating invisible energetic blocks that are stopping us from taking action. I'm going to repeat that, all right? The reason why we care about our money traumas is because they are creating these invisible energetic blocks. Somebody write energetic blocks inside of the chat so that I know you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? These are invisible energetic blocks that are stopping you from taking action. So remember when I said we all know that we're supposed to spend less and save more. Why are we not doing it? The reason why we're not doing it is because of our invisible money trauma. Type in a 9 in the chat if you're with me. Type in a 0 if I lost you. I stopped seeing comments. I think something might be wrong on my end because I don't see comments from anyone. So I'm just going to keep going. Okay. All right. Cool beans. Cool beans. All right. So, there we go. I see one comment. Energetic block. So somebody's listening. There you go. Got a 9. Okay. I think there might have been a lag or something. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. So let's talk about some examples of money traumas, right? What are some examples of money traumas? Let's have a conversation. What are some examples of money traumas? The first example that I have on my notes is childhood poverty. Growing up in a household where money was always scarce, right? A lot of times I work with my clients and they tell me, Kat, I make $8,000 a month and I have no idea where my money goes. Or I'll hear, Kat, I make $10,000 a month and I have no idea where my money goes. Or some of you who make other people. I had a doctor. I had a physician who was making $27,000 a month. Actually, no, he was making $26,000 a month. His expenses were $27,000 a month. You hear that, right? He was spending $1,000 more than what he made every single month. How is he able to do that? How is that possible, Kat? Credit cards. Right? And so when you have, right, I can see this. Yeah, there you guys are. Okay, there you are. Somebody giving me some life. Yes, I can see it. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Somebody's like, no, Kat, we are hearing you. Please don't stop. Right? And so when you grow up, and so when I see these things, right, when I see my clients who are saying, okay, I make $26,000 a month and I don't know where my money goes, or I make $5,000 a month, I don't know where my money goes, right? The first question I ask them is, who in your life also had trouble saving? Did mom have trouble saving? Did dad have trouble saving? Did auntie, uncle, whoever raised you have trouble savings? And usually the answer is yes. And then they start to realize, oh my God, my parents also had trouble savings. Of course, my parents were also in hardship. My parents also had trouble keeping in money. Money would slip through their fingers. And so when you're able to recognize the roots of these energetic blocks, two things happen. Number one, you start to realize that it's not your fault. That is so powerful when you realize that it's not your fault. All that shame, all that guilt, all that beating yourself up, it just drops. You just feel this energetic, like whoosh, like, wow, it wasn't my fault. Mom had this trouble. Dad had this trouble. Uncle had this trouble. Everyone in my family had this trouble. I just didn't know any better. So there's this whoosh that just happens when you realize that it's not your fault. And number two, you realize, wow, if I was able to learn this, that means I can learn something different. Type in a 7 if you're with me, right? Okay? When you understand the root of your money traumas, when you understand that the reason why you're not able to move the way you want to move, the reason why you're not able to save the way you want to save, the reason why you're not able to go after that 6-figure job the way that you want to, the reason why you're having trouble going to get those clients, the reason why you're having trouble attracting clients to your business. All of these money issues that you have is because of your money traumas, right? What are some other examples? Okay. Priestess Ola Ia says, some of mine are not showing up. Tell me a little bit more. All right. I'm not quite sure what that means, but tell me a little bit more. Maybe we could dissect that a little bit. Okay. T. Ellen says the religious concept that it's bad, sinful to want money or accumulate a lot of it. Woo! I'm so glad somebody said it. Shit. Aibo. Yes. Thank you for that example. Absolutely. The religious concept that it's bad or sinful to want money or accumulate a lot of it. I don't know if you guys remember from one of my episodes, I talked about this lake behind here. This is abundant. The trees are abundant. If you look around you, everywhere in nature, the cells on your skin is abundant. The hair on the follicles of hair in your head is abundant. The information inside of your mind is abundant. Everything around you, everything in nature is abundant. And so how can desiring abundance be bad? So that means that nature is bad. Is that the truth? Is nature bad is this tree bad for having all those leaves? How dare this tree have all those leaves? How dare this lake back here have all that water? How dare you? They must be ashamed. How dare this tree just hog up all that sunlight, all that fresh air? How dare it? You see how crazy that sounds? That's what we tell ourselves. How dare we want more? How dare we multiply? How dare we be fruitful and multiply? How dare we be useful and multiply? I'm sorry, fruitful, useful, of course. Fruitful and multiply. How dare we? See how crazy that sounds? But that's what we've been telling ourselves subconsciously. Okay, beautiful. That's a good one. Let's keep going, right? 10 Figures says being afraid to circulate money. Oh, that's another one. You're coming in hot. Oh no, that's somebody else. Okay, both of you have a T with your name, right? You're coming in hot, right? Being afraid to circulate money. Absolutely, right? That's another one. Where earlier I talked about the trouble with savings. There's the opposite. Okay, I'll tell you a little story. Actually, I'm glad you brought this up. I'll tell you a story. So one of my clients, right? She had she came to me and she wanted to learn how to invest, right? And she also wanted to buy her first house. And so we worked together, all of that. You know, we did some money mindset things. We put together a financial plan. We set up her investments. We got her all ready. And about a year later, she was able to save $75,000. This is an attorney, right? She's actually living with her parents. She's not living with her parents. If anything, her parents are living with her, right? She's taking care of her parents. She's an attorney making, I think, about 12 or 15K a month. I can't remember how much she was making, right? But she was able to save $75,000, right? And so we had a conversation and I said, okay, so what do you plan on doing with this $75,000? Do you plan on investing in real estate? Do you plan on buying land? Do you want to buy a business? What would you like to do with it? And she said to me, Kat, I'm so scared. I'm scared to touch this money. Help. And so sometimes it's not trouble savings, right? I may not be talking to you if I tell you that you're having trouble saving. Sometimes it's the complete opposite. We hog all the money. So guess what? We did some mindset work. We went to the root of this behavior. And guess what happened? When she was little, right? When she was little, her grandmother used to give her money. And she would save this money, right? She would save the money, and put it in her little piggy bank. Well, her mother, unbeknownst to her, right? So she had money unbeknownst to her during her quinceanera. This was a Hispanic young lady, okay? During her quinceanera, her mother took that piggy bank, right? And used all the money without her knowing, all right? Without her knowing, took all that money and paid for her quinceanera. And so that created a money trauma for her. She felt that her money could be taken away at any time. Type in a 7 if that resonates, right? And so she would hold on to the money for her dear life. Like, I better hold on to this because it might be taken away, or somebody might take advantage of me, or I might be scammed. Type in a 7 if you've ever thought that. Oh, this must not be right. This is too good to be true. I'm not going to spend that money. I need to hold on to this money for dear life because I don't know if I'm going to make any more, or it's too hard to make more. So I'm just going to hold on to this. That's another one. Absolutely. Thank you for that one. Okay. Ia says, poverty is pious, wealth is gluttonous, or so people are often thought in church. Absolutely. That does sound insane when you condemn nature for being abundant. Absolutely. And that's what we're doing. We are condemning ourselves. We are part of nature. Take a look at your skin. This is pure earth. You look like the trees. You're the same color as the trees. If you go like this, well, my hands are sweaty, I guess because I'm talking, right? My hands are sweaty. But if you go like this, you're going to get a piece of dirt. You're going to get some dirt. You are nature. The electricity in your heart, the water that's flowing through your blood, the air that's inside your lungs. You are nature. So when you're condemning yourself for being abundant, you're condemning nature. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. All right. This is a long one. I hate spending. It's because when I was younger, I grew up with absolutely nothing. I don't even celebrate birthdays because I didn't have as a child, but I grew up with my siblings having. Oh, my heart hurts. Absolutely. Yes. This is a money trauma. Yes. And it's happening thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being vulnerable, Queen. I'm assuming Queen, right? Okay. Thank you for being so vulnerable. Absolutely. This has been running in the background. And this is why when you think to yourself, well, I know I'm supposed to spend less and I'm supposed to save more. Why am I not doing it? I know I'm supposed to multiply my money. I know I'm supposed to invest and multiply my money and have my money work for me. But why am I not actually doing it? Because, Queen, this has been running in the background. And look how powerful it feels to recognize this. Ashe, your healing has already begun. Absolutely. I love that. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Some other examples of money traumas, right? Parents fighting about money. Woo, this is a big one. Right? Especially if your parents had two different views of money, right? Hi, Caroline. Hi, Queen. Hello. I see some people on Facebook. I see some people that I recognize, right? Not being your parents fighting about money, right? This puts a negative connotation. Here's the thing, and I talked about this in another episode, right? The first 7 years of your life, right? According to psychologists, according to that whole industry, the psychology industry, the first 7 years of your life. And some experts will tell you the first 3 years of your life. Some will say it can extend until preteens. But in general, like you said, like we all know, there's no absolutes with humans, right? There is zero absolutes with humans. There's always an exception to the rule, okay? There's always a few exceptions to the rule, right? But on average, right, the first 7 years of your life is where you learn about life. This is where your brain gets all of its programming. This is where you learn about relationships. This is where you learn about money. This is where you learn about family. This is where you learn how to cook. This is where you learn how to walk. This is where you learn how to talk. This is when you learn how to read. You guys picking up what I'm putting down? You learn so much about data. You gather all of the data around you, right, to formulate new programming about the world. And so when you witness your parents fighting about money, especially if mom and dad have two completely different views around money, guess what? That goes into the subconscious. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's do one more example, right? Financial abuse. Or actually, yeah, I got another one actually. Financial abuse. This is a common one, especially when you live in a household where mom was a stay-at-home mom, or where mom didn't work and dad was the one who brought home all the bacon, or grandma or grandpa or uncle or an auntie, or whoever raised you, right? This happens a lot where dad is the bringing home all the bacon and mom keeps herself small to stay safe. Mom has no say-so. Mom has to ask dad for money. This happens a lot. Now, I'm not here trying to paint a bad picture of having a provider husband. That is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to highlight that there are some households where there was a provider husband who was abusive, right? And so that can also shape the way that you see money, okay? Another big one for a lot of my clients is fraud or theft. This one is huge, especially if you witness a robbery while you were a child, or you experienced a robbery, or maybe you didn't experience it, but your parents did. And it doesn't have to be a breaking and entering, right? Sometimes we think trauma has to be this big, huge thing, right? Here's the thing. The brain doesn't know when there's a lion coming at you or whether you're watching a lion on TV. The brain doesn't know. The brain just knows it's time to panic. So all traumas are reacting. The brain reacts to all traumas the same exact way. And so it doesn't need to be this huge, big thing, breaking and entering, and they literally tore up your whole house. It could just be that your parents were scammed, or a member in the family never paid back your parents, or a member in the family took over a house that wasn't theirs, or you notice a death in the family, and then there was a lot of arguing around assets, around grandma's house, who inherits this, who inherits that. All of these things contribute to your money trauma. Okay. All right. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, this young lady says, please give insight in regard to blessing others for return blessings. We are often told that this in prosperity teachings. Yes, absolutely. Right? If you take a look, that's a good point. If you take a look at this lake here, is this lake not giving? If I go and get a bucket of water in this lake, is this lake going to come and swallow me and say, no, you can't touch my water? No. Right? These leaves here, if I go and grab some leaves, let's say they were leaves that I could make some tea with, or some sort of tea. If I go and grab some leaves, is the tree going to smack me and say, no, you can't have any of my leaves? No. Right? And so if I take some leaves from the tree, right, will that hurt the tree to where the tree can no longer grow leaves? Now, if I overdo it, the answer is yes. But if I take a few leaves, the leaves will go right back. Same with the water. If I go and get a bucket of water, there will be more, right? And so when we're giving, we want to give from a place of abundance, not giving from a place of guilt. When you give because, oh, you better give or else, pow, pow, and you're putting that energy into your money. And guess what? You're going to receive that same energy back. But when you're giving from a place of abundance, meaning you have more than enough, and because you have more than enough, then you're giving, then it's going to keep coming back to you. Absolutely. But if you're giving and you're hurting yourself in the process, there's going to come a point in time where you can't give to anyone, not even yourself. And so there's a fine line between giving. We want to give from a place of abundance, not from a place of lack. This is another problem with a lot of my clients. Family members in Haiti asking for money. Oh, I got to send them money, or else I'm the bad guy if I don't send them money. Family members in Jamaica, I got to send them money. Family members on the African continent, I got to send them money. Or maybe it's not even anybody abroad. Maybe it's somebody right next to you. Oh, your best friend needs $500. I can't say no to her. She's going to make me the bad guy. I can't say no to this person. They're going to make me the bad guy. They're going to think I'm the bad guy. That is coming from a place of lack. If you're saying to yourself, I have to give because they're going to think that I'm bad or that I'm selfish, that is coming from a place of lack. We want to give from a place of surplus. Type in a 7 if you're with me. Okay, beautiful. Now, how do money traumas manifest? How do money traumas show up? We talked about it a lot, right? The fear of spending, compulsive savings, right? Impulsive spending. Spending and over, going on a shopping spree and just swipity swipe. And for some reason, you just can't stop yourself. You're like, one more, oh, just this one more thing, or this one more thing, or having money in your hands, right? After you pay all your bills are paid and you're all good. And then you have money left over and now you become anxious about it. You're like, oh, I have money left over. I need to spend it. I got to find something to spend it. I have money left over. That is how money traumas show up. What if it was safe to multiply that money you have left over? What if it was safe to lock it away for your future self? What if it was safe to put it to the side so that your future self can get out of it in any emergency in the future? Right? Okay. Awesome. So that's it for today. This is part 1. We're going to go a little bit deeper next week. We're going to go a lot deeper. We're going to talk about now that we understand money traumas, right? Okay, Kat, I get it. I understand money traumas, right? I'm able to see some things, all right? Now that we get money traumas, how do we fix it? What needs to happen in order to fix it? So stay tuned for part 2, all right? Type in a 7 in the chat if you'd like to be tagged in the part 2, okay? Don't forget, everybody, tune in every Monday, every single Monday. Put it into your calendar, okay? Every single Monday at 1 p.m. Tune in. You don't even have to. You see how I'm like, oh, type in a 7, type in a this. You don't even have to do none of that. Some of you are watching at work. If you're on your lunch break, whatever the case is, right? You can go ahead and put that into your calendar. I'm going to be on at 1 p.m. If it's like 101 or 102 and you don't see me, just know that I'm behind the scenes trying to get everything ready and coming on. Now, if you see it's 110 and you don't see me, something's happening, okay? But I had someone text me one time. It was 101. They're like, are you coming on? I'm like, yes. Yes, I am on my way. Yes. Okay. So 1 p.m. every single Monday. And those of you who are interested in working with me, where you're like, Kat, man, you're speaking my language, man. You help me see things differently. I want more. I want to learn more. You can go to learnorishahoodoo.com. All right. Sorry, Facebook over here. All right. Oh, let me type it here on Facebook. So you can go to learnorishahoodoo.com. Okay. And go ahead and look for some classes. All right. I have a few classes. I have New Year, New Money, which you can do at any point. Right. You can do this at any time. It doesn't have to be New Year. Right. It was just something I did special for the new year. If you're a little bit unsure and you're like, I'm not sure, Kat, I don't know if I could do this, just text me before you buy it. And then I'll either tell you, okay, do this instead, or you'll be okay, type of thing. Okay. So any questions, comments, or observations? Do you guys like this topic? All right. I'm testing different topics to see which one you guys like the most. Okay. So do you guys what do you guys think? You guys like this topic? Talk to me in this chat. Kat is amazing, y'all. Oh, thank you, Jamea. Jamea is actually a client with me. Let's go, Queen. I'm so excited. I don't want to put your business out there, but when we accomplish everything, I'm going to show you off. I can't wait to show you off. All right, everyone, have a great night. I don't see any questions. All right, remember, Rich Root series every Monday at 1 p.m. Bye.